G'day gang, Danny, how you going? We're back in the World of Warcraft on the human Paladin Artraxius. In this World of Warcraft walkthrough, we're at the Weathered Grave. The Weathered Grave marker reads simply Morgan Ladimore. Upon further examination, you notice that dirt over the grave has been recently disturbed, and that a good amount of dirt seems to have been displaced. Speak with Sira von Indy in Darkshire. So we need to go back to Darkshire. Okay. Let's do that. Should we do that first? Maybe we should do that first. Instead of riding back there. That way we can go there, hand that in, and then fly back. We shall see what happens once we do that. Looks like I got some mail again. Some auctions that didn't sell, that spider silk. Wonder if I can utilize that with my tailoring.
What can I do for you?
Sira von Indy? Morgan Ladimore? Ah, yes, of course. He was a long and sorrowful tale. I knew him well before he left for the war. That was the last time I saw him. A noble and good man. He was, but he suffered a bad end. Here, I should have something here that can tell the tale better than my own recollections. He searches through the shelves and comes up with a leather-bound book. If you would like to know more, you might ask Altea. She's been the one to handle the trouble with him of late.
For the Alliance.
The story of Ladimore. Oh, I can't read it? Oh, okay.
Can I help you?
Oh, we'll get it after this. Gotcha. Morgan Ladimore. Never... Oh, you mean Mor'Ladim. I guess you haven't heard the story. Well, I'll give you the short version. A powerful undead calling itself Mor'Ladim has been wandering Duskwood. From what we've gathered, it appears to be the undead body of Morgan Ladimore, of whom you apparently know. He's been causing us all sorts of problems, attacking watchmen on patrol and killing people. She sizes you up. You seem to be capable enough. Maybe you could lay him to rest. From what my scouts tell me, Mor'Ladim wanders throughout Duskwood, following a strange and meandering path through the cemetery. We buried him out past the house on the hill. You know where that is? There isn't anything I could do to help you, but I wish you good luck. Kill Mor'Ladim, then return his skull to Commander Altea. Okay.
See you around.
So we do need to return, but that's okay. Let's have a read of the book here. Morgan Ladimore was a great and noble knight who fought in defense of the innocent, the poor, and the afflicted. For many years he worked diligently throughout the outlying areas of Azeroth, bringing relief to the suffering and swift justice to evildoers. He was married to a young girl named Liz in the summer of his 18th year. They were very much in love, and with each other, and would eventually produce 3 children, a son and 2 daughters. Morgan was 32 when war broke out.
Hello.
Let's start flying while I read the rest.
Farewell.
Lordaeron. Morgan was called to the side of the legendary Paladin Uther the Lightbringer to fight against the orcs and the undead. Leaving his wife and children in the safety of his home, Morgan left for war. The years passed and the war dragged on, and Morgan would witness many horrific events, including the disbanding of the Paladins of the Silver Hand, the death of Uther, and the spread of the plague. The only thing that kept him from the brink of madness was the knowledge that he would someday be reunited with his wife and children. Morgan would eventually return to his homeland, but find it nothing like how he remembered it. The once verdant forest was corrupted and teemed with the undead and other dark forces. Destroyed houses and farms could be found everywhere, and the cemetery near Ravenhill now dominated much of the area. A shocked and bewildered Morgan eventually made his way to his home, only to find it in ruins. Not knowing what had befallen his homeland, he headed towards the village to find answers, and he hoped his wife and children. Morgan inquired about his family, but could not find any answers. A priest in Darkshire, as it was now called, said that he might search the cemetery at Ravenhill for a gravestone. Morgan refused to believe that his family was dead and continued to search every farm and house in Duskwood, but to no avail. Morgan rode from Darkshire to nearby Lakeshire, thinking that perhaps his family had fled. On his way there, he decided against his better judgment to stop by the Ravenhill Cemetery. Morgan spent hours walking amongst the gravestones. He recognized many names of people that he knew, and became more and more distraught. Then he saw them. A small untended plot amongst the many with 3 small gravestones. A feeling of dread washed over him as he approached. Morgan brushed off the dust of the most prominent gravestone to reveal the name on it. Simply carved upon the grave, letters spelled out his worst fear, Lys Ladimore, beloved wife and mother. Morgan's apprehension turned to dismay and then to grief, and he fell to his knees weeping. For hours he stared at that one grave, begging the cold stone for forgiveness and sobbing apologies. Then, hours later, something in him snapped, and he began to lash out. He brought his sword out of its scabbard and began to rain blows on the gravestones. Screaming in rage, blind in his fury, he lashed out and swung wildly, catching the notice of a trio of the cemetery's attendants. As they tried to restrain him, he turned his focus to them, hurling accusations of guilt upon the innocent attendants, and then killed them all. Later, when the rage had passed, realization crept into Morgan's mind, and he saw his bloody sword driven into the chest of one of the attendants. Driven to the brink by his emotions, he removed his knife belt and plunged it into his heart. Morgan Ladimore's body and the 3 bodies of his victims were found the next day. He was quickly buried without ceremony in a hastily dug grave on the outskirts of the cemetery because Morgan committed murder against innocents, something that went completely against his beliefs and his nature, and because of the grief that he held in being unable to save his family, Morgan could not die a peaceful death, and lived on as one of the restless undead, or dead. One day, only days later, his grave was disturbed, and his body could not be found. The being that was Morgan now wanders Duskwood, consumed by his grief over the loss of his wife and children, and his own self-hatred. Mor'Ladim, as he now calls himself, roams Duskwood with mindless vengeance and hatred, and has been known to commit murder indiscriminately. Well, that's a story and a half, isn't it?
Friend Greymane's a friend of mine.
The cries grow softer for now. Light bless you, Artraxius.
We are bound by a common enemy.
Alright, let's hand these quests in before we go after Mor'Ladim. A new shield for us. His clothes and bloodstains? If it's not tricks, it's something worse. The others here share my suspicion. Morbent Fell lives in undeath, and he may be even more powerful than before. A necromancer was struck down, but a lich may have risen in his place, and now he continues to ruin this land. I remember Duskwood before all of this, Artraxius. I remember bright skies and peaceful woods. This can't stand. Morbent Fell must be stopped for good. Speak to Sister Ellington. Her vision might guide you to where Morbent Fell is, and how he can be defeated.
Get gabbing or get going.
It's heartening to see one so recently recovered be so concerned with the plight of others. Sven spares himself suffering by not dwelling on his own misfortune. Sven is correct. I can feel the presence of a powerful evil deep beneath the Ravenhill Cemetery. Evil lurks in its catacombs, and Morbent Fell must be the source. You will need the power of the light to strike him down, Artraxius. Sven told me that heroes who first slew Morbent Fell wielded an artifact of light-forged iron imbued with holy power. That artifact is still here. I can feel it as well, a glimmer of light amidst the darkness. Search Ravenhill for it, and let the light guide you through it.
Farewell.
Okay. Find the light forged rod in Ravenhill. Well, let's do that. Mor'Ladim's over there. We'll go for the rod first, I'd say. And then we'll tackle Mor'Ladim. Now, it does actually say suggested players 3. I'll give it a crack as 1. I'm hoping as a protection paladin it'll be a long fight. But surely we win in the end, right? Slow and steady fight. Is this it? Light forged rod. Buried in the cold dirt, you find a brilliant metal shaft, but there are holes where pieces of the artifact are clearly missing. In front of you, the bare earth slopes down towards a dark entrance of the crypts. You feel that tug of the light forged artifact urging you towards it. Perhaps the other piece is down there. Well, let's go and investigate then, shall we? Find the light forged arch within the Dawning Woods catacombs. Silent shades. Oh, and undead. Rising from the grounds, are they coming after us? The halls of the dead. Oh, we're gonna have to take on a few of these. Oh, there it goes. Run in fear, silent shade. Or float, I guess. You got no legs. Flees up for 40 seconds. That's a long time. In the dirt of this alcove, your eye catches the shine of brilliant metal. You've found another piece of the artifact. You attach the arch to the rod, and the artifact is nearly complete. A large gap still sits in the center of the holy symbol's head. Once again, you feel it tug your arm, urging you towards a hole in the wall and the winding tunnel ahead. The last piece must be through there. Oh, okay. Oh, I like this. I mean, I don't like that. Writhing terrors. Done and done. Lightforged crest. In the darkest depths of this earthen tunnel, you spy the faintest gleam. The last piece is found. The pieces fit, and the holy artifact is restored, gleaming with sacred light. This should let you defeat Morbent Fell's dark magic. Further down the tunnel, away from the direction you came from, a heinous cackle rings out. It's the clattering laugh of a lich. Morbent Fell is just ahead. Removes the protective enchantments around Morbent Fell. So many roots around here. A chattering cold wraith. Oh! And he's right around the corner there. Oh, there he is. Morbent fell. Morbent fell. Okay. And you got two little friends over there too. Let's bring them all towards us. And then we got you, Mr. Morby. In fact, we probably should eat some of this. Get that 1 stamina and versatility. Why is it still 1 stamina and versatility? Even some of this stuff further down the line. It's been 1 stamina and versatility for ages. I would have expected by the time I'm making this sort of stuff, you know, it's like 6 or 8. Let me have a look down the line here. Is there anything that's gonna... Are we gonna get rewarded with something a little bit better? 1? 1? What? Oh, this one by 4. By 1 stamina? That's strange. Blizzard, unless it's... No, I don't know. Why is it 1? Okay, anyway. Why is that? Alright, Morbent fell. You've got a lot, that thing is packed in over there. Let's see if I can just use this from here. Bring you down here. Seems like we'll be fine anyway. Removing that enchantment is massive. Oh, he died and then all these things dropped. He was controlling them all. They're all linked to him. Okay, that's ready to be turned in. Let's get out of here while they're all on the ground. And Mor'Ladim was wandering around here somewhere. Yeah, that's strange. I wonder why. It's restricted to 1. Here he comes. Just clear an area here. Alright, Mor'Ladim, let's dance. Got several shields, I got my lay on hands just in case. But I'm guessing we'll be okay. Seem to be just fine, 8%. Down you go. We got the skull. Skull gets returned to Darkshire. Let's return ourselves down to the camp. I wonder if I had tried to do that as a DPS, as a Retribution Paladin, whether I would have had a little bit more of trouble. Possibly, possibly. Because I have, you know, get to see my health plummet just taking on like 2 or 3 normal enemies. Sword and board seems to help a lot. May the disgusting monster stay dead this time. I'll head down there and scatter his remains to ash myself, Artraxius. You've done a great thing. Perhaps in time, Duskwood can return to its former peaceful state. We got a finger ring or a plate waist or a belt, commonly known as a belt. I'll take that. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so now we go back to Darkshire. We've completed that. And that's 4 or 5 chapters, and this is the 5th chapter. So this is it. Let's flap on back.
How are you?
Oh, I'm alright, mate. How are you? Yeah, that's strange, though. Look, I really would have expected look, it's 162 now. At, you know, over halfway, something like this should give you like 4 stamina at the very least. Right? And just going down this... You know what? Maybe it's because of the whole level squish thing. Oh, that could be it. Because even look in Outland, your spell power only increases by 2. Versatility by 2. It must just have something to do with... Yeah, okay. Gain 2 haste and 2 stamina. I mean, that's 2 different stats, but... No, hang on a second, because at level 10 I could choose to go, say, and do, whatever, the Wrath of Lich King, right? And I'd be making, say I'd be making this stuff now. I'd be getting 2 attack power, so that's still better. Even if I was making this stuff, at this point... Wait a minute, let's find something which actually gives you a buff. Nothing gives me a buff. Surely something here gives me a buff. Like Worm Delight, for example, right? Would give me 2 critical strike and 2 stamina. So there is, the stats are better. But why am I sitting here struggling to make this stuff and I'm getting like 1 stamina? Oh well, whatever. Something that should be looked at, I reckon.
What can I do for you?
I don't blame you if you're having trouble with him, Artraxius. Some of our strongest watchers have been lost to Mor'Ladim. Check out this skull. You killed him! Oh, that's no small accomplishment, Artraxius. On behalf of the people of Darkshire and the Night Watch, I thank you. There is one small matter, however. I should have told you this earlier. How do I put this? Morgan may have believed that his family was all dead, but in fact his daughter Sarah Ladimore is now a watcher. She's always been troubled by the circumstances surrounding her father's death. Perhaps you could go and bring the news to her.
Be careful.
Watcher Ladimore?
King's honor, friend.
Hey Sarah? Yes, my father? Her eyes become downcast. I wish there was something I could have done for him. If only I had talked to him before he... Here, take this and lay it on his grave. Maybe, somehow, he'll know that I'm okay and that none of us hold him responsible for what happened. There are tears in her eyes now as she slides a ring from her right hand and presses it into your hands. And thank you, Artraxius.
Be careful.
Okay. So we're going to go back there and visit the grave. I think I might just actually ride there rather than fly. I might get there a little bit quicker, possibly around about the same time, perhaps. It's our final ride through the Darkshire and Duskwood. Darkshire and Duskwood. So having a look at the map, it seems like we're going to go south. And then I don't know where, but some people have said, oh, maybe you go to the Burning Steps. There might be something cool there. You know, whether I might, I don't know. We'll see how we go. I really don't know what happens. Whether I continue to get breadcrumb quests leading me to the next zone, or, you know, I'll get to the point where I'll just have to just choose which way we go. Now, considering we're finishing up with this zone, and considering nobody has come out and said, hey, Artraxius, it's time to deal with, you know, that thing back at the old Deadmines? It's time to deal with that. I haven't received a letter. They did tell me that they were going to contact me at the appropriate time. I don't know what time's appropriate. I'm level 32 already. So I'm thinking, let me just bring it up here. Let me see. Deadmines is level 7 to 50. So I'm thinking we're going to deal with the Deadmines next episode. Followed by... Why isn't it here? Stockades. Where's the stockades? Oh, here we go. Stormwind Stockade. Okay. It's all the way down there because it's alphabetical, I guess. So these ones are 7 to 50, 8 to 50, and then these are all 10. Yeah, so I'd say we go deal with the Deadmines first. I'll tank it, and then we'll go through the stockades. So that way we deal with those two situations. Because they did mention go and have a look at the stockade, right? What the? Where am I going? Where am I going? That's what happens when I start talking. I start drifting. I actually rode all the way around there. Okay. That's right. We'll get there. Top speed. None of these spiders are going to stop us. Nothing's going to stop us now. And nothing's going to get in my way. Now, the only other thing is maybe we'll run into Ladimore again. Although I wonder if he's phased out now that I've defeated him. Well, I'll just quickly hand this in and see what happens. Leave me be! Can see it's been disturbed. A ghostly voice sounds on the wind. This is Sarah? Could it be she's still alive? The weight is removed from my shoulders. Artraxius, take my sword, Archaeus. As my soul is put to rest, I have no more need for it. I was forged to do good, and though I have proved myself unworthy to hold it, perhaps you will carry on the light through it. Liss, my love. Well, I would love to get... Oh, actually, you got it in several different versions. That's cool. Okay, so we'll take this then. Restored Archaeus. And there's Mor'Ladim risen again. Let's put him back to rest. One last time. Oh, there was some RP over there on the side. I missed that. Read it out after we drop this guy again. Down you go for a second time. My sword Archaeus served me well in life, but as at last my spirit may pass from the unhappy existence I need it no longer, I shall cling to the love of my daughter and hope that I will find forgiveness under the light for my sins. Oh, and it became a epic too. Nice. So I'll throw that on. That'll be my sword. It's got +7 critical strike. Alright, so we're going to make our way back to Westfall. Cross the waters and then ride to the Deadmines. And then once there, we're going to deal with Marina de Cirrus. Hang on a second. A silver spawn. Level up. 33. It's a leather belt. Okay, as I was saying, we're going to ride over there to the other side. There's a bridge down there. I'm going to have to gather up a group of adventurers. I'll send them a letter in the mail. Ask them if they can arrive here at the same time. Or soon after anyway. And then we can begin our adventure. And let's get to the bridge that'll lead us out of this zone first. Back into Westfall. So, the Deadmines over there. And as everything scales up with you, all the enemies do. They are all around 32, 33. Which they definitely weren't before when we left this zone. Approaching Moonbrook. Which was a location mentioned in that Legend of Stalvin. Now it just looks like a bunch of ruins. A lot of homeless citizens wandering around. Do not join the Defias, people. We're going to go down there and deal with that. Watch out, citizens. Watch out, citizens. Coming through. Slightly quicker way down. Believe it was around here, and then it wrapped around. Another silver spawn. Marissa to Page. Follow this down here. Here we go. Return to the Deadmines.